Hello everyone, it's Atlas Paper here, and today I have some news concerning my character Virgo that I wanted to talk to you all about. Now, while this news isn't what I was hoping to be able to tell you all, it is going to give me a good excuse to be able to explain her story and lore in depth without having to worry about spoiling anyone or the story or anything. So buckle up and enjoy an entire video of spoilers about her story and insights into the character and things I have been dying to share with you all. But before that, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The fact that I haven't really been posting content about Virgo recently, and the fact I am no longer playing her. Now, Virgo is one of my favourite characters I have ever played, and I'm really going to miss her. Unfortunately, the game just didn't end up working out, and unfortunately it means that she's going to end up being a casualty of this. Of course, I'm sure I can find a one-shot or two to play with her in the future, so it's not all lost. However, I am itching to tell you all the lore, and because the game isn't running anymore, I won't be able to give you updates like that. So here is my fun compromise. All the lore I have been sitting on that I have been so excited to tell you all, I'm just going to explain in one long speed paint, which is also something I know a lot of you have been asking for. So here's 2 in 1. Have a long form video, have a speed paint, and have loads of lore about my character. I don't think I could think of anything better. Now, let's start with her family. Virgo was brought up in the Virtuo household, a group of angels who worship the angel of perfection. Each member of the household shows their devotion in a unique way by wrapping and hiding one aspect of themselves they deem most perfect. For Virgo, she wraps one of her eyes because she considers her eye for detail to be one of her best traits. Her sister wraps her chest because she believes her vanity and beauty is the main aspect of herself. Her mother binds her mouth, as she believes her silver tongue is her best feature, and her father, Vincent Virtuo, wraps his eyes for his wisdom. These are sacrifices they make for perfection, but it's not the only thing that they do to attain this. Each member of the household also works towards perfection in their own ways, and for my character Virgo, it was through her mutagen project. Now, Virgo believed that no one was born perfect and instead would have to work for it. And in her case, she believed that she could use surgery and mutations and toxins to change a person to make them be the most perfect aspect of themselves. So she would sew wings onto people, add halos, and fix them up in general. Her and one other doctor were the only experts of this in the city, and the doctor was her mentor, known as Midas. Midas was the one person that Virgo could really rely on and lean to for her research. He understood that her practices, while a little out there, were for a good cause in their eyes. However, Midas ended up going missing, and Virgo then started to take on the job of seeking perfection all by herself. She collected Midas's notes and diagrams on creating the most perfect angel possible and made it her task to try and achieve that on herself. A fun theme I wanted to explore with Virgo was the idea that she was constantly trying to edit herself and seek perfection, but by the end of the story I wanted her to gain some more humanity and realise that she was perfect the whole time, and that gaining some self-confidence through her friends and relationships along the way would make her realise this. I really enjoy starting with imperfect characters and seeing how they bloom and grow, and it was going to be a fun journey. It was the first time I had played a more evil aligned character, and initially it was something I was struggling with because I felt so bad. It also meant she would never admit that anyone else in the party was perfect, so if someone came down in a beautiful ball gown or such, she would say, "Oh, you're near perfect," or something along that line. She never quite understood how off-putting she would be, or how standoffish, but she was just being literal, and it's something I kind of related to. Playing flawed characters is fun, and it makes them feel more human. And I think that's what I truly found while playing Virgo, that even though she was so out there, she felt so grounded, she felt so vulnerable, and that she was hiding that through all the things she was trying to do. Speaking of all the things she was trying to do, I think it's time to talk about her project with Hugo. Now, Hugo was a fellow player's character who I was having a rivalry with in the game. His character was a gambler who threw money around and was a sorcerer and luck mage who was being possessed by the god of luck known as Calfred or Cal. Many years ago, Virgo had an encounter with Calfred, who was possessing Hugo's body at the time, where he asked her to perform a surgery where he could swap arms with Hugo, bringing one of his insecty, godlike arms into this realm so he could control it. Virgo jumped at the chance because this was one of her first times she got to put her mutagen practice, well, into reality. So it meant that when Hugo turned up in the party, Virgo was not excited to meet Hugo. She was excited that she knew that Cal was in that body and she might get to see him again. So throughout the campaign, my plan was to try and get her to try and bring more of Cal into this realm and dimension through many surgeries, with the most recent being his tongue. My plan was to have Virgo keep going with this until she starts to feel a little more remorseful. That or she ends up bringing the entirety of Cal into this dimension. This was a pretty extreme rivalry that we were having going in the campaign, and I should say the other player was fully on board. We were mostly excited to see which way the coin ended up flipping. And the way things were going, I think it might have been the bad ending, to be honest, because despite our efforts out of game, Virgo and Hugo continued to be really bad rivals and kept really annoying each other, which was just really funny. Another big project that Virgo had was her homunculus, which you might know as the very tall man wrapped in bandages known as Vessel. And Vessel has his own lovely little story tied to him as well. You see, growing up, Virgo was successful at many things: her studies, surgery, academics. But the one thing she was not so good at was social interactions. So when it came time for her to try and find a suitor and go to parties, she was failing miserably, and it was crippling her. Her parents' disappointment on her back felt terrible. So, over the years, she started a project in secret. She started building a homunculus out of discarded living parts, and ended up making a suitor of her very own. Now, while Vessel couldn't talk, he could communicate in sign language, which is something Virgo knew very well. When it came time for Virgo to present Vessel to her parents, she was full of pride. Unfortunately, her parents saw him as a monstrosity. So they banished Vessel to Virgo's laboratory and told him not to come upstairs again. So that's where he had been staying, and was another reason that Virgo started to stay in her laboratory more often. That was her home. That was where she was most welcome. She became an isolationist, but a good one. She didn't need to advertise her craft. Her notoriety got around. If people wanted mutating, they knew where to come, and her door was always open, and she was more than happy to experiment. Meanwhile, upstairs, her sister Vivian flourished in the social interactions, and the two's rivalry got even worse. After all, there could only be one perfect daughter, and they each went about it in very different ways. But Virgo didn't mind. It was more convenient that she was kept in her laboratory. After all, she had secrets to hide. And there were also a few secrets that I was hiding from my party that I can now share. Now, you'll notice that in Virgo's design, usually she wears a face mask, and that wasn't just a design choice. That had meaning behind it. You see, Virgo actually had a trait about herself that she really hated, and it was the fact that her tongue had turned black from the amount of mutagen toxins she had consumed. In fact, her surgeries towards perfection were actually slowly destroying her body in some way, and she was constantly in a state of repair trying to fix herself as well as perfect it. I imagine as she gained levels, she would start to see herself deteriorate even more. And I was excited to see what kind of design she ended up looking like, although I was very hesitant to change her design at all because after all the concepting, I really like what I landed on for her. But that is also why her hair would turn white when consuming her mutagen toxins. It wasn't something by design, it was a side effect that she most likely despised. Another small secret that was hidden in her design that is quite evident in this piece is that Virgo didn't have a naturally grown halo like her sister and father. She inherited her mother's traits of not having one. So the light above her head was something that she crafted using magic. The documents to perfection that Midas gave her were also another secret I was hiding. It was something that she was going to slowly work towards, and I'm not sure where it would have ended up, to be quite honest with you. I don't even know if those sketches would have led to perfection, but it would be really interesting to see. Overall, I really enjoyed playing Virgo. I put my all into her diary developing, into her design, into her backstory, and I feel like it really played off. I had a lot of fun exploring her. I think the main thing that Virgo taught me was that a character doesn't have to be perfect to enjoy them. And in fact, it's their imperfections that make them so special. I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming along this journey of this character with me. It truly felt like the first character where I wasn't alone in playing them. Your excitement and enthusiasm meant the world and just made me so excited. And is of course an excitement I would like to continue with future characters. I have a lot of plans and a lot of fun things in the works. I've had a few people asking for more long-form content, so if this is something you enjoyed, please do let me know. It's always useful to know what kind of videos you would like to see from me because I am a short-form video creator. I really feel like this is a step towards some good change, and I look forward to seeing what ends up happening in the future. But until the next time, have fun on your adventures.